that looks like live.
Yeah, looks like we're online, which is awesome. Well, welcome to Sacred Place. My name is Ben Grace. You've probably been seeing my face on the internet for almost 3 years now, which is kind of crazy. This is my wife, Karen Thurston.
To be fair, a lot of these people are still seeing your face on the internet.
Well, that's true.
But we have a few here in person, which is wonderful. And it's so nice. Thank you all so much for having us. It's so nice to see your faces.
Yeah, so I think we're going to start today. Start with some songs, and then Matthew will be up to tell us kind of what we're talking about. And this is a song I think you all know. Slightly different lyrics in moments.
From within me, speak out undeterred. Thou, my kind mother, hide thy true child. Now in me dwelling, my heart reconciled. Riches I heed not, life's empty praise. Thou mine inheritance, thou and always. Thou and thou only, first in my heart. Spirit of knowing, my treasure thou art. Of knowing my victory won, may I reach heaven's joys, oh bright heaven's sun. Heart of my own heart would ever be full, still be my vision, oh keeper of all. Still be my vision, oh keeper of all.
Mask malfunctions.
Masks and technology.
Yay, technology. Hey, it works. Good. My spot is here? Yes. There we go.
Good job.
Yeah. The camera decides to automatically switch scenes sometimes on me, which does not help. Good morning. Ben, are you welcome to? But I'll welcome you again. I'm Matthew, the pastor here at Sacred Place. Hi, friends online. I don't know how many of you there ever are, so whoever's watching, whenever you're watching, I'm glad you've taken time out of your day and week to be with us. We have our friends Ben and Karen live and in person and not just via video. Yay. So everything's reconfigured to make sure we could all fit and make it work. Hopefully everything is set right technologically speaking, because we're actually using the sound system for the first time in forever. And so, yeah, I think I listened to that yesterday. Anyhow, so it is All Saints Sunday. Things are a little different with our order anyway, because we have our friends here, and so there'll be more instructions about that as we go. But let us light our candle now without getting too close to the speaker that is poorly placed. Nope, I'm just going to mute that. I'm just going to mute it. Putting me in charge of the fire is never a good idea, but anyhow. We light our candle to symbolize the presence of God among us. Through spirit and word, we remember all that God is in the long history of our understanding of creation to now. May this morning's gathering bring us a time of remembering, and remembering that also we are never alone.
Oh, gather up the brokenness, bring it to me now. The fragrance of those promises you never dared to vow. The splinters that you carry, the cross you left behind. Come healing of the body, come healing of the mind. Let the heavens hear it, the penitential hymn. Come healing of the spirit, come healing of the limb.
The rest of the melody is all the same if you want to sing along.
Behold the gates of mercy in arbitrary space, and none of us deserving of the cruelty or the grace, whose solitude of longing, where love has been confined. Come healing of the body, come healing of the mind.
See the darkness healing that tore the light apart. Come healing of the reason, come healing of the heart. Oh, troubled dusk concealing an undivided love. The heart beneath is teaching to the broken heart above. Oh, let the heavens falter, let the earth proclaim. Come healing of the altar, come healing of the name.
Longing of the branches to lift the little bud.
Oh, longing of the arteries to purify the blood. Let the heavens hear and penitential hymn. Come healing of the spirit, come healing of the limb. Let the heavens hear it, the penitential hymn. Come healing of the spirit, come healing of the limb.
There we go. Our reading is from 2 Kings 5. Naaman, a general for the king of Aram, was a great man and highly regarded by his master because through him the Lord had given victory to Aram. This man was a mighty warrior, but he had a skin disease. Now, Aramean raiding parties had gone out and captured a young girl from the land of Israel. She served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, "I wish that my master could come before the prophet who lives in Samaria. He would cure him of his skin disease." So Naaman went and told his master what the young girl from the land of Israel had said. Then Aram's king said, "Go ahead, I will send a letter to Israel's king." So Naaman left. He took along 10 kickers of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 changes of clothing. He brought the letter to Israel's king. It read, "Along with this letter, I'm sending my servant Naaman, so you can cure him of his skin disease." When the king of Israel read the letter, he ripped his clothes. He said, "What, am I God to hand out death and life? But this king writes me, asking me to cure someone of his skin disease. You must realize that he wants to start a fight with me." When Elisha, the man of God, heard that Israel's king had ripped his clothes, he sent word to the king, "Why did you rip your clothes? Let the man come to me. Then he'll know that there is a prophet in Israel." Naaman arrived with his horses and chariots. He stopped at the door of Elisha's house. Elisha sent out a messenger who said, "Go and wash 7 times in the Jordan River. Then your skin will be restored and become clean." But Naaman went away in anger. He said, "I thought for sure that he'd come out, stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, wave his hand over the bad spot, and cure the skin disease. Aren't the rivers in Damascus, the Abna and the Pharpar, better than all Israel's waters? Couldn't I wash in them and get clean?" So he turned away and proceeded to leave in anger. Naaman's servants came up to him and spoke to him. "Our father, if the prophet had told you to do something difficult, wouldn't you have done it? All he said to you was, 'Wash and become clean.'" So Naaman went down and bathed in the Jordan 7 times, just as the man of God had said. His skin was restored like that of a young boy, and he became clean. He returned to the man of God with all of his attendants. He came and stood before Elisha, saying, "Now I know for certain that there is no God anywhere on earth except in Israel. Please accept a gift from your servant."
As we think about remembrance and loss and grief, it isn't always in the context of a person that we've lost. For a lot of us, there are places, relationships, spiritual communities, a number of things that in order to be who we truly are, we've had to walk away from, and we've had to say goodbye to, and we've had to make a really hard decision to lose. And as we were thinking about remembrance today, we wanted to sing a song that would honor those choices as well, that would honor those losses and the incredible strength and courage that it takes to know when you need to leave. So this is a love song that we wrote for anyone who's ever had to make that choice, and it's called "Building a Boat."
As I am tired of treading water, I have begged you not to drown. I can't swim out any further. I can only hear the sound of the waves that break and of my worst mistake. You should know I hate to go. I am building a boat, I am leaving a land place, I am aiming for home, I'm hoping we'll find it. There is room for 2. There's a place for you. You were always raging rivers, you go storming at the sea. rain your hurricanes deliver. My love, it's killing me. We were all lost, and I will count the cost. You should know. I hate to go, but I am building a boat. I am leaving a lamplit. I am aiming for home. I'm hoping we'll find it. There is room for two. There's a place for you. But I am building a boat. I am leaving a lamplit. I am aiming for home. I'm hoping we'll find it. There is room for two. There's a place for you. I am building a boat. You should know. I hate to go.
This 2 Kings 5 passage, I think, is one of my favorite passages in the Bible. It's a very weird little story. I think it contains a lot of things that have been quite powerful in my life. I think it's a story of outsiders who kind of come to understand their place with each other and their place with healing. And I think this morning, as we're talking about All Souls, All Saints Day, the question that sort of was on our mind a little bit as Matthew and I spoke this week was, what does it look like to be people of healing, and what does it look like to step into that role in people's lives? And for me in my life, what I've discovered over the last, I guess, say 5-6 years of my life, as I've kind of hit midlife and mortality has come to reveal itself to me, is the people in my life who have been healers have often been healing out of their own pain and out of their own brokenness and out of their own places. That they're wounded healers, I think, as Henry Nouwen talks about them. And so this posture of coming to heal someone out of a place where you're like, I've got the answers, I can fix you, is not always the places that's helpful to people, but the places where we recognize our own mortality, where we can actually carry our own grief around with a posture of humility and carry it around, knowing that that has shaped us, that grief has given us places of depth and given us places to understand ourselves more fully and understand others more fully and understand this earth more fully. So this next song we're going to sing is a song that's been around for a little while. It's also one of my favorites. It's just a song about bringing beautiful things out of dust and brokenness and out of our places of grief.
All this pain, I wonder if I'll ever find my way. I wonder if my life could really change at all. And all this earth, could all that is lost ever be found? Oh, could a garden come up from this ground at all? And you make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of us. Life is springing up from this old ground. Yes, out of chaos, life is being found in you. Oh, 'cause you make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of us. Yeah, you make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of the dust. And you make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of us.
Sing that with us.
You make me new. You are making me new. You make me new. You are making me new. You make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of us. You make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of the dust. And you make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of us.
It sort of behaved. I'll stand here. That's good. So this week we pick up. Let's still doing that thing. Not long after where we left off last week, with a little bit longer after last week. So we had Solomon and wisdom and the conversation. So we had David, then Solomon. And then Elijah comes along, and the kingdoms are split, and it gets complicated. And now we have Elisha, so we skip over Elijah to Elisha, his protege, if you will. That's a good word. And Elisha is a kind of a different kind of prophet. Many of the other prophets, they speak many things to the people, and it's a lot about words. But for Elisha, actions seem to be more important, or at least just as important as the words you use. And so the way that healing comes about, because prophets are so often about healing, I think, about bringing wholeness and healing to God's people. And so Elisha, as a prophet, brings about wholeness and healing through actions and not just words, which when Naaman comes and has that experience, this simple action of being washed in a river doesn't make sense. It's, how are these waters different than any other waters? What makes this water special? When asked to do something so simple, that response might make sense for us. When healing requires, we were just accidentally singing Frozen earlier. One of the songs that always resonates with me from Frozen 2 is The Next Right Thing, when Anna has experienced this moment of Elsa being gone as far as she knows. She thinks she's left on her own and is experiencing very deep grief. She knows that the only thing she can do is take one step forward, to do whatever the next right thing is. And I think we see in this story that all that's being asked is to take one step forward. It's something simple, just to go to the water and wash himself. When he balks at this, his companions with him say, well, if he'd asked you to do something difficult, wouldn't you have done that? Like if he'd asked you to cut down 10 trees, for example, and bring 10 trees, would you have done something difficult? And so he realizes in that moment, well, if it was something difficult, yes, I would have done it, because that would make sense, that this healing that I need takes something difficult to happen. But when really it's the simple thing that is being asked of him. When we come to All Saints Sunday, All Saints Day was on the 1st, the day after Halloween, but so often we don't have to change the practice much from year to year, because each year we come with new grief. For me, my grandma died this year, just in June. And so that is a new candle which I will light this year. I don't know what each of you has experienced this year in terms of loss and grief, but I imagine there's something new to it. Even if it's the same grief you've been carrying, there may be a new aspect to it. And so the simple act of lighting this candle is for us a practice of remembering. And as we've been talking through this series, we spent some time looking at promise and covenant and how God established that with God's people. And now we have moved into what it means to live out that promise. Remembering is an important part of that. Remembering who we are, what we are supposed to do, and those who have been with us and been a part of that journey for us. Those who we hold most dear, who we wouldn't be who we are without. Those are the people we remember today. And in lighting this candle, we create a physical symbol of remembrance just for this time together, maybe. But it is a way of honoring the grief we carry with us and taking one step forward to allow that grief to continue to transform us into something new. I will light the first candle by going around this way. So during this song, as you feel led or welcomed or encouraged, you may come and light a candle. You can use the candle already lit to start, so you don't have to walk back and forth with fire. That's probably safest. But I invite you to allow this song to work in you however it needs to.
The song we're going to sing while you light your candles is specific. It's a eulogy for my grandmother. But grief and loss and love are universal. And I invite you to just use these words to fill in your specific stories, and your loves and your losses. Genevieve sang me to sleep, and she tried to carry me home and to open my eyes. Shame carved an echo-shaped scar on my skin. Genevieve never had language for sin. Maybe we run farthest from what we need most, and it takes generations to give up the ghost of the way law can turn love to blades in our hands. You told me love was all that I am. You told me love was all.
Lay me down.
Bleed solid ground into roots that'll help her to grow.
She spins around
To the legacy sound of old maple and ivory keys, with her laugh like a lullaby for Genevieve. Genevieve sang me goodnight, and I know she left me with words she believed in her soul. Faith is a legacy
broken with blame.
so I'll sing to the small hope that carries her name. Maybe we hold tightest to losses we fear, cling and carry away what we'd hope to keep near.
And the way love can turn love's blades in our hands. You told me love was all that I had. You told me love was all. Oh, lay me down.
Bleed solid ground into roots that'll help her to grow.
She spins
Around to the legacy sound of old maple and ivory keys.
Oh, lay me down.
Bleed solid ground into roots that'll help her.
She spins
Around to the legacy sound of old maple and ivory keys, with her laugh like a lullaby.
for Genevieve.
Genevieve sang me to sleep, and she tried to carry me home and to open my eyes.
Now it works. works. There we go. Let us pray. Holy One, God of healing, on this All Saints Sunday, we bring with us whatever grief we carry. Help us to remember that grieving is not something we need to do alone. We are designed to grieve in community. Though often our culture shies away from grief, we know that as your people, we are called to create together a place of healing. As we walk together on each of our journeys, help us to take just one step forward, one step toward what you have in store for us, for the ways grief will change us into something which we probably wouldn't even expect. There is much in our lives and in our world which calls us to grieve. May we not be overburdened by it, overwhelmed by it. May we together carry the weight of it so that no one is overwhelmed. As people who dedicate ourselves to justice, inclusion, and family, may the healing we hope comes from that work continue to grow in our midst. May your Spirit always be with us, leading us to wherever that next step might be. We give thanks for all that has been and all that will be. In the name of Jesus, the risen one. Amen.
One reason why this 2 Kings 5 passage is one of my favorites is because of the prologue, which wasn't in our reading today, but the little piece after this army commander who's from a conquering nation, who's been on this mission by this little unnamed slave girl who had the concern for him to kind of say, hey, I think you could experience some healing if you kind of went to this person. After he rocks up to the house with the prophet and tries to give him a gift, Elisha says, no, I don't want your gifts. I won't accept them. But what he does is he then takes a little piece of earth, and he takes that piece of earth back to his land, and he says he's going to spread it where he prays, and he's going to kind of use that piece of earth to remind him that of the God of Elisha and the God of healing. And I love that kind of little reminder that in the Bible that God transcends boundaries, and God wasn't just concerned for the nation of Israel. It wasn't just on one person's side, but was love for everyone and healing for everyone. So I wrote this song a few years ago. I'll admit I wrote it in a slightly bratty mood. We were doing a series in September around Emmanuel, the idea of God with us, which is something we talk about in Advent a lot. And every time I looked up all the songs that had God with us in them, they were really they went out of their way to make sure to remind us that we were sinful. And I was like, okay, I see kind of your point, but if Emmanuel, God with us, means God comes close to us and God is not afraid of our dust and our sin and our humanness, that God is with us in all of those things, then why do you have to be reminding us all the time that we're sinners? So I wrote this song instead, and instead of God with us, I entitled it Love with Us. And it's just a reminder that no matter where you are and where you go from this place, that you can take this patch of earth around, that we are all dust. We take this around with us to remind us that you are okay wherever you are, in your mundane life, going about your business, at your job, wherever you are in your mundane life. Love is with you, and love has your back, and love is concerned about you.
In the heat and in the fire, you see all that our heart desires. In the darkness and the flood, always with us and always love. Always with us and always love. Oh, love with us in joy and pain. Love with us in the mundane. Oh, love with us until the end. Always only our true heart's friend. Always only our true heart's friend. In confusion, questioning, when to futile thoughts we cling, when we're muddled up in shame, you insist that it's not our name. You insist that it's not our name. Oh, love with us in joy and pain. Oh, love with us in the mundane. Oh, love with us until the end. Always only our true heart's friend. Always only our true heart's friend. In our aimless wandering, on the days we can't bear to sing, when we circle around and around, you remind us the lost are found. As you remind us the lost are found. Oh, love with us in joy and pain. Oh, love with us in the mundane. Oh, love with us until the end. Always only our true heart's friend. So love for each and every one. Oh, let all love's children come. Love for enemies and friends. Love with us until the end. Love with us until the end.
There we go. As we come to the end of our time together, I want to invite, if you are joining us online for the first time or in person for the first time, you to let us know a little bit more. Oh, of course, the button's not working now. Well, I'll put it up at the end. We'd love to connect with you, and there are easy ways to do that from our website, and you text a number that I can never remember, and that'll send you the link too. We'll be back here, as always, 10:30 for our time of gathering and 11 for the live stream portion. As we leave this place to do the work to which we know we are called, may we find healing in the steps we take together. And if it becomes too much, don't forget that you have this sacred place to come back to. Try the button over here. Is that one? Maybe. Yeah, it's all disconnected. Oh, no, there. Sure, now it pops up. There we go. That's where you deal with your no. It'll let me clear it, but it won't let me start it. That's weird. That says now connecting. That's why. I'll just go push the button at the back.
It's up to you. Okay. You guys want to sing one more song?